Hi, and welcome to the Do Better Business Show. I'm Doug Kirkwood, and today we're going to be talking with the president of the Mascot Company, Mark Decoux Cozzi. Mark, welcome to the show.
Hello, Doug. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
It's a pleasure having you, and we always like free things here. So, hey, thank you very much for the free Mascot towel, cooling towel here as I sop off my bald head. A pleasure.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very
You're
much.
welcome. Oh gosh, it is machine washable. So
We're going to need it.
Yeah.
Mark, let's start right at the beginning. It's a simple question, but how did you come up with the name, The Mascot Company?
Well, I guess it was a bit of a stroke of genius. It all comes down to how I started the company because I was told. I'm going to have to digress into how I started the company first to get to that because
Yeah, please do.
I used to work for another company that was a competitor, who's now a competitor in town, and the ending wasn't all that pleasant. So I ended up moving on from that company, and I was approached by a former client that came up to me and said, "Where have you been?" I said, "Well, I don't work there anymore. I need a mascot." I said, "Yeah, but I don't do that anymore." And he said, "I don't care. You put a name on a piece of paper, put a number down, and I'll have a sale for you." So I came back home and I said, "All right, how's this going to work?" So I made some phone calls to get some folks that are going to help me do it or make the mascots for me. And when they said, yeah, they do it for me, I put a quote together. And in order to put the quote together, I had to put a name on it. And I'm like, oh, what do I do? Mighty Morphin Mark's Mascot Makers or something,
Rolls right off the tongue, Mark.
Yeah, right. So I said, well, okay, the Mascot Company, but not just the Mascot Company, it's the Mascot Company. So, the guy promised that if I did it, he'd get me a sale. So I did it, and he did. And the name has it was a lucky fluke because it was sort of a last minute thing. I put it together, and it's turned out to be a bit of a stroke of genius because it's all about maximizing SEO. So when people put in a search for mascot companies, well, guess what? And now, in fact, with the advent of AI, it's become even more prescient because I'm actually getting quotes or form submissions, rather, and inquiries about mascots that have been sourced from Chat GPT, of all things. So it's been great, and my days have blown up with people wanting to have mascots. So it's been great.
Can we talk a little bit about that? First of all, the name.
Yeah.
I would bet people at this point will call you and go, Mark from the Mascot Company. So what do you do?
I actually did have that. Believe it or not, I was going into the bank, and there was a new lovely young lady at the bank, and she was cashing my checks because I get checks from all over the world and whatever. I have to put a check in the bank the old school way. And she looks at it. She says, "What do you do?" I said, "The mascots. It's from a high school. What do you do? What do you think I do? Do you coach?" "No, we make mascot costumes."
So your tip to anybody wanting to get into business would be maybe less is more, or keep it simple, maybe with a name of your company?
Yeah, you know what? Don't get fancy, right? I mean, it makes sense that if you're selling a widget, tell them what you do. It's pretty simple, I think, right?
You talked a little bit about SEO, AI. Tell me how that has been a big change for you to be able to run your business, and how have you utilized that, Mark?
Yeah, well, really,
it's a big question, right? It's a big question with a lot of content.
Wow. No, I just get the emails and I reply to people. No, my company really took off when I was able to get a website that made sense. And what I mean by the website makes sense is that If you go onto my website, themascotcompany.com,
Thank you for
you
that.
will see our gallery in particular, because the gallery of what we create it's very visual and people want that. I do have a lot of word, but that's not all that great. And I'm working on updating that. But the gallery itself is really what sells my company. But a lot of my competitors tend to, as I say, they tend to barf out every costume they ever make on their website, which becomes a little bit overwhelming for the end user, I think. My website's fairly concise. There's going to be more. We take some off, we put some on. Let's face it, there's only so many furry dogs that you need to see in order to understand that we can make you a furry dog, right? The same with a bird or a bear or whatever. I don't feel the need to have to put up every single client on my website, not all at once anyway. People get it; they want to be, So I think again, like our company name, I think it's simpler is better, less is sometimes more. It just makes sense. It's easy to find what you're looking for.
Can we talk a little bit about what is on your website? Tell us a little bit about some of your clients. Where would we see a furry dog? Who have you made mascots for in the past, Mark?
So, we made a lot. I mean, we've gone all the way from professional sports teams to special event sporting things like things that you don't even know existed, like the European Handball Championships in
They have a
Alexandria,
mascot for that?
Egypt. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
And that's on our website. And actually, it's the Horus is the god of the sun and the moon, and it's sort of a bird head. That was one of the most intricate mascots we ever made, and that went over to Egypt. So AS Roma of the Italian Soccer League in Rome, Italy, we made two characters. They're the same character, but one is kind of intense and the other one's a little friendlier. It's the same character. They got 8 costumes from us, so we sent those over there. We were approached recently by FIFA World Cup. We're not doing that, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, I think. But sometimes when you say no, it's not a bad thing.
Who have you said no to? I got to interrupt right now because I am sure that you've had a request or two for a mascot. You kind of go, no.
Well, one of the keys to business is knowing when to say no, because sometimes the character or the sale you don't make is probably the best one of the week. We had approached a lot. Like Taco Bell asked us to make a taco for them. Again, that's on our website. We made that one. The Empire State Building actually asked us to make a mascot for them, and of course, I immediately defaulted to, "Oh, you want to say King Kong, right?"
Yeah. Sure.
No, we want you to make the building. All right, and we did, and that's on our website. But sometimes I just walk away. One in particular that came up recently, a family planning clinic in the U.S. called me up and they went, "Yeah, our mascot is a uterus." And I went, uterus. And they said, right? And I said, "Oh boy, how are we going to make that work?" And they said, "Well, we want it to be cute because we want to name it the Cuterus."
Okay. Wow, Mark, we're completely out of time. I am just kidding. But you know what? That is reflective of, maybe this case, they say the client is always right. Maybe not in this particular case.
I mean, what happens a lot of times, Doug, is that, people, they think that because their logo is a tornado, well, we have to make them a tornado. I had one client actually call me from the UK, and they are a hairbrush manufacturer, and they wanted me to make them a hairbrush. Well, how am I going to make them a hairbrush with a spindle handle and a little thing on the top? But where are the arms and legs going to go? I said to them, "No, don't do that. Make a character that has hair that's out of control, kind of like my hair today. Hair that's out of control." Right, that your product is going to tame that for you. Your mascot should wear your logo. It should represent your product. It should not be your logo or your product. Indeed, we made the mascot for the Chicago Bears, Staley. That is the first mascot they ever had in their history, and we're very, very proud to be the supplier of that character. If you take a look at Staley, he's clearly a bear, but he looks nothing like the logo.
True.
The same goes for the San Jose Sharks of the National Hockey League, who we supply their mascot to, Sharky, SJ Sharky. It looks nothing like the logo, but it represents the team properly. Right.
On a side note, I have to mention this. Anybody who is a sports fan has probably seen the clip of Sharky hanging from the rafter on a tether or on a bungee line, and he's frantically got his arms up, let me down, let me down. That was great promotion for you, though, Mark. That was your company that made him.
I don't know that it was great promotion for us, but what's really funny,
well,
though,
you didn't put him on the tether. I'm just saying,
What's really funny about that is that, that shows what our costumes are capable of doing. We'll keep up to any performer, right?
Right.
But what's really funny about that is that he was dangling, and it was against the Detroit Red Wings, and he was sitting there. He told me the story. He's sitting there. He's looking down, and had he been 3 feet lower, the NHL could have fined the San Jose Sharks for delaying the start of the game. But because he was technically high enough in the rafters, he fell under the parameters of where you can hang things from the ceiling. So when the fire department finally came to pick him up, he was fine hanging there. Of course, you can't do that for long, but they pulled him up. And he said the worst part was when the firefighter grabbed him and yanked him over the railing. He actually broke his ribs on the railing. He was fine from sticking there. It was when they brought him up that they hurt him. So yeah, that was pretty funny. Not for him, obviously. But
no, I guess not. Well, and to be professional about it, good thing that the actual mascot outfit, no damage, right? It worked?
No. In fact, the reason he got stuck was because the harness and the pulley system got hooked up in his jersey. It had nothing to do with the costume. It all had to do with the jersey was too loose, and his handler didn't kind of hook him in properly, and the jersey was flopping around, and it got caught in the pulley, and that's what stuck him.
The moving parts in your company must be constantly moving in regards to materials, helmets, feet, a fan maybe in the helmet. How do you keep people cool and getting resources and materials and trying to stay on the cutting edge? I'm sure that is always an ongoing journey for you. It
is, and one of the biggest questions is, well, we need our mascot to be cool, and there's no such.
You mean temperature cool, not just cool, but
cool. temperature cool,
Gotcha.
literally rather than figuratively. But I have pulled all of my professionals, my professional clients, from the WNBA's LA Sparks to the Miami Dolphins, Chicago Bears. Some of the ones I've mentioned, and to a person, to a performer, they all say to me, "There's nothing more that you can do. You have the lightest weight costumes on the planet. We've never experienced a lighter weight costume, and let's face it." That's what makes somebody hot inside. It's how hard they work. If you're carrying around more weight, you're working harder, therefore you're generating more heat. All a fan does is just blow hot air back down on the performer. It's like standing in front of a hairdryer. If you've ever been to Arizona in the summer and thought, or Vegas in the summer and thought it would be a great idea to rent a convertible car and go down the highway with it, no. You're essentially asking someone to wear a bucket on their head and a fur coat and be cool. It's not going to work.
I miss the days of a convertible, Mark.
So yes, the hair.
Hey, Mark, I want to talk to you about something you touched upon here, and let's talk about not only what you've done and where you've come from and how you came up with the name, but the actual business, the moving parts of the company. What advice can you give anyone who is interested in starting out in their? What advice can you give anyone who is starting out in their own, wanting to create their own business?
Sure.
Where do you begin? But you touched upon something that I want you to talk a little bit about, and that is simply listening to your customers.
Yeah, that's a real key. So there's a few things that for me, I think business is fairly simple. Okay. So if you're not in it as a sole proprietor, meaning you're the only one in the company and you have other people that you're working with, the first thing you need to do, make sure you trust your people, right? Trust them to make decisions that are for the betterment of your company. If you don't trust them, why'd you hire them in the first place? You don't have to make every decision and get and seek advice, or your employees shouldn't have to ask you if this is the right thing to do. They should intuitively know that this is going to be better for the company. And if it turns out not to be, then you know what? If it costs me a little bit of money, well, that means I've paid tuition for them to learn that it wasn't something that worked. And they'll never do it again. Hopefully, if they keep doing it, well, you got to cut bait. But that's the first thing. The second thing is you really have to talk to people. Please miss me with the service chatbots. Miss me with that. Pick up the phone, talk to people. They have a problem. Understand the nuance of what they're asking for. Understand the urgency of that. Chatbots don't help.
So has technology hurt or helped? That's maybe the wrong wording. People I'm finding now, Mark, are more comfortable letting technology kind of take care of business for them. Things changed since COVID, FaceTime, and I don't mean the app. How much more important is it now to actually get somebody on the phone or actually sit down with them and talk to them face to face?
I couldn't tell you how many, it's quite a few, how many people have actually said to me, I'm so glad that you actually picked up the phone and called me. It's amazing. I think I attribute part of our success and part of our popularity to that. I insist on speaking. I'm the president of the company. I insist on speaking to every single client that we come through the door. Now, people might say to me, "Well, gee, you don't have anything better to do." Are you kidding? They're the source of my income. They're feeding my family. They're turning the lights on. Yeah, I think that it's lazy. That's what I think. What's happening with this stuff? It's lazy. And there are people on the other end who say, "I don't want to talk to you. Just send me an email and then do it from there. Send me a quote." I don't do business with people like that. I need to talk to them. Maybe I'm old school, but I think it's lazy. And I think it's, one of the worst things you can say to somebody is, "I didn't get back to you because I've been too busy." How many times have you heard that?
A lot.
A lot. People don't understand. "Oh, I'm too busy." That means I'm too busy to talk to you. You're not important to me.
That would be a good tip that you would give somebody wanting to get into business, right?
100%. Don't
listen to your customers, be available.
Be available, for sure. Listen to them. I talked about
Mark,
that.
when you're putting a team together, and as I'm not listening to you, I did a great job of cutting you off. My apology.
No problem.
Classic Doug. But if you're to put a team together, I think people really feel like I have to get on social media. I have to get a website. I have to get on Instagram. I got to get on TikTok. Whoa. Before you begin any of that journey, is putting the team together step one for you, Mark?
I don't know that it's necessarily step one. I think, all businesses thrive on finding a need and filling that need. Right. So if you're going out there and trying to sell something that people don't need, I don't know that you're going to work. So first of all, find the need, fill it. And if there's a demand for it, go for it. If you've got to believe in that. The second thing is if, a lot of companies fail because they're too busy selling the 100th or the millionth or the 1,000th widget. But they haven't perfected the first one yet. And by perfected, I mean they haven't built the first one yet. So build one, sell it. Build two, sell them. Build four, sell them, and so on and so forth. Then you eventually get to the point. Well, when I started making mascots, it was like, I don't know, I was making 10, 12 a year. It was a side gig. Then when I finally got into it, we hundreds of mascots later, we've got a constant production team going because I built it organically and step by step. You have to take the steps that you've taken to get to where you are. You write that one down. Yeah, that's going to go on the wall somewhere.
I was going to say, I'm going to get a tattoo on that one. I'm going to write that one down. Mark, we could talk all day because I think you have a lot of really interesting parts. How did you get going in the company? How do you make these mascots? This is the Do Better Business Show. We always like to kind of finish things off with asking our guests this question. Mark, how do you do better business?
Well,
what makes a better business, Mark?
A better business. I think it's fairly simple. And I think we talked a little bit about the first couple of points. Trust your people, talk to people, listen to people. People is really important in there, right? Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to say no. We talked about that. But more importantly, give your customers a fair price. Listen to what they want. Give them a fair price for it. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's just for a fair price for them. It's got to be a fair price for you too. If you can't turn on the lights at the end of the day, you're not going to be in business very long. It's got to be a fair price for both of you. And then finally, deliver what you promise. And maybe just a little bit more, like a little cooling towel that you have there. We add that in for as a little gift with purchase. But I guess to sum that up, it's under promise, over deliver. If you can't deliver something in a timeline that the client needs, why are you telling them you can? And then 2 weeks later, you're late and they're pissed off at you. You're not doing anybody any favors there. And you're just putting pressure on your own team. So under promise, over deliver, and stand by your product. Help people. Don't worry about, that's going to cost me another $100. Who cares? In the long run, it's going to make you 10,000. Don't worry about it. Don't let the little things get you down.
What year number is this for you, Mark, running the Mascot company?
24.
24 years of making mascots.
Yeah. Well, it's longer than that because I was with the other company for 5 years. And prior to that, I was managing a mascot for the AAA baseball affiliate to the Seattle Mariners here in Calgary. It was the Calgary Cannons a long, long time ago. That's how I kind of got into it. So I've been doing mascots since I was out of university, really, in one way, shape, or form.
Mark, people are always looking for inspiration from anywhere. They might be watching this podcast going, wow, I want to do my own business. I'd love to talk to Mark. Where could they find you?
Well, I think the best place to do it would be themascotcompany.com. I would fill out a contact form on there. Those all come to my inbox. And in the comment section, just leave me your phone number, your email, etc. And in the comment section, say, "Hey, Mark, I saw your podcast. I would love to chat with you a little bit more. I'm thinking of starting a business. I would love to help people out." My email, info@themascotcompany.com. Send me a direct email. And that's probably the best way to do it. Absolutely.
Mark Decoux Cozzi, president of the Mascot Company. Thank you very much for joining us on the Do Better Business Show.
Thank you so much, Doug. I really appreciated this. I could talk all day about this stuff. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.